It's raining. This is Buddhist Books Podcast, episode 231, Tipiṭaka, part 151. And today we're going to continue reading Mahāvagga II. So this is Mahāvagga II, part 7. If you would like to start at the beginning of the Vinaya Piṭaka, the discipline basket of pre-sectarian early Buddhism, you can click right here. This is, of course, also the three baskets of the foundation of Mahayana, Vajrayana, Zen. The Tipiṭaka is not exclusive to pre-sectarian early Buddhism nor Theravada, but is included in all forms of Buddhism. All right. I thought you might enjoy seeing a little bit behind the scenes, what it looks like out there. In the scriptures, when they talk about the rains, they're referring to the 2 or 3 months in India where it rains a lot every year, monsoon season. And that's what we're in the middle of right now. Although here you might have noticed a bit more of a tropical thing happening where in Bihar and that area, it's much more like flatlands, and then of course you got the foot of the Himalayas, and that's more the setting in which these stories take place. But still, it's India, so I feel like I'm in the place where this happened, generally speaking. I will go ahead and get to the reading, and I hope everybody's doing well. And for those who, this is the first time you've seen me and you're a little bit like, what is this? You may want to watch the Buddhist Books introduction video. It's about 20 minutes in which I break down kind of what this is in general. But for those who are here for today's reading, I will begin. Picking up right where we left off last time. Now, at that time, in a certain residence, several resident monks, 4 or more, collected together on an observance day. They did not know that there were other resident monks who had not arrived. Thinking of the rule, thinking of discipline, thinking that they were complete, they carried out the observance. They recited the Patimokkha while they were incomplete. While the Patimokkha was being recited by them, other resident monks, a large number, arrived. They told this matter to the Lord. He said, quote, "This is a case, monks, where a certain residence," 3 dots, as in the previous thing. So this is the parentheses are the Pali Text Society, letting us know that it's all basically the same stuff as was recited in the last thing that we read at the end of Tipiṭaka part 150. That's right here, if you want. They like to, you could say they're saving paper, maybe, by not translating things. Sometimes things do genuinely get repetitive, and it's kind of like, okay, well, it's good they abbreviated this because they repeated the exact same paragraph 10 times. But sometimes it feels unfortunate when they leave things out and tell you to go chasing for it in previous parts of the recital. So it's like more like a research document as opposed to scripture is how they're treating it. Okay, what can you do? It was 1930s England. There's another book that I'm reciting that was translated in 1930s Germany, so I was a little mixed up for a second, but this is from England. All right, here we go. Recite the Patimokkha while they are incomplete. So that's how however many paragraphs were skipped ends. While the Patimokkha is being recited by them, other resident monks, a larger number arrive. Monks, the Patimokkha should be recited again by these monks, and there is no offense for the reciters. Okay, so they just are supposed to start over. They're like, oh, we're halfway done, but everybody just got here, so we'll start over. Fair enough. This is a case, monks. I think he's going to go into another variation that might come up. This is a case, monks, where in a certain residence, 3 dots, as in the above, 3 dots. While the Patimokkha is being recited by them, other resident monks, a like number arrive. What has been recited is duly recited. The rest should be heard. And there is no offense for the reciters. Well, that seems a little bit open to interpretation, but fair enough. So if you have a group of 4 or 5 monks, they recite half the Patimokkha, and another group of 4 or 5 monks arrive, you can say, all right, be seated, we're halfway done. You'll hear it next month. But if a group of 10, will we assume? What if it's a group of 6, though? What if it's a group of 7? Like, where is the difference between a larger number and a like number? I guess that's open to interpretation. All right. Okay. Yes, the rest should be heard and there is no offense for the reciters. This is a case, another case. This is a case, monks, 3 dots, as in the above, 3 dots. While the Patimokkha is being recited by them, other resident monks, one moment while I get the correct page, a smaller number arrive. What has been recited is duly recited. The rest should be heard, and there is no offense for the reciters. So the same thing if 2 monks arrive. They just, you'll hear it next month. This is a case, monks, 3 dots. When the Patimokkha has just been recited by them, other resident monks, a larger number arrive. Monks, the Patimokkha may be recited again by these monks, and there is no offense for the reciters. So if they've finished reciting all of the rules, then they start over and recite them again. All right. This is a case, monks, 3 dots. When the Patimokkha has just been recited by them, other resident monks, a like number, arrive. What has been recited is duly recited. The entire purity should be announced in their presence, and there is no offense for the reciters. This is a case, monks, 3 dots. A smaller number arrive. What has been recited is duly recited. The entire purity should be announced in their presence, and there is no offense for the reciters. I wonder if it's a group of 20 monks and a group of 17 monks arrives. That's a smaller number than the group that recited it. So do they skip it or do they re-recite it? I don't know. This is a case, monks, 3 dots. When the Patimokkha has just been recited by them and the assembly has not risen, other resident monks, a larger number, arrive. Monks, the Patimokkha may be recited again by those monks, and there is no offense for the reciters. This is a case, monks, 3 dots. A like number arrive. What has been recited is duly recited. The entire purity should be announced in their presence, and there is no offense for the reciters. This is a case, monks, 3 dots. A smaller number arrive. What has been recited is duly recited. The entire purity should be announced in their presence, and there is no offense for the reciters. This is a case, monks, 3 dots. When the Patimokkha has just been recited by them and part of the assembly has risen, other resident monks, a larger number, arrive, 3 dots, as in the above. A like number, 3 dots. A smaller number, 3 dots. So now it's up to us to interpret what he means, or what Polytext Society means by putting those 3 dots. Okay, making it a challenge. All right. This is a case, monks, 3 dots. When the Patimokkha has just been recited by them and the whole assembly has risen, Other resident monks, a larger number arrive, 3 dots, as in the above. 3 dots, a like number, 3 dots, a smaller number, 3 dots. Told, almost, are the 15 cases in which there is no offense. All right. I forgive the Polytext Society in my heart. I don't want to be sarcastic while I'm reading the scriptures. Okay. Quote, "This is a case, monks, where in a certain residence several resident monks, 4 or more, collect together on an observance day. They know that there are other resident monks who have not arrived. Thinking of the rule, thinking of discipline, thinking that they are incomplete, they carry out the observance." This sounds like the difference is that in the first several cases, they did not know that there was another group of monks coming. So in this case, they know the monks are expected. They're going to arrive any minute, and they're like, you know what? Let's start without them. So yeah, there's an offensive wrongdoing, probably in every case, I'm predicting. Let's see. While the Patimokkha is being recited by them, other resident monks, a larger number, arrive. Monks, the Patimokkha should be recited again by those monks, and there is an offensive wrongdoing for the reciters. Thought so. This is a case, monks, 3 dots, as in the previous, 3 dots. A like number arrive. What has been recited is duly recited. The rest should be heard, and there is an offense of wrongdoing for the reciters. This is a case, monks, as in above, 3 dots. A smaller number arrive. What has been recited is duly recited. The rest should be heard, and there is an offense of wrongdoing for the reciters. This is a case, monks, 3 dots, when the Patimokkha has just been recited by them and the assembly has not risen, 3 dots. Part of the assembly has risen, 3 dots. The whole assembly has risen and other monks, a larger number, 3 dots. A like number, 3 dots. A smaller number arrive. What has been recited is duly recited. The entire purity should be announced in their presence, and there is an offense of wrongdoing for the reciters. Told are the 15 cases on thinking that, parentheses, an assembly, end parentheses, is incomplete when it is incomplete. Quote, "This is a case, monks, 3 dots. They know that there are other resident monks who have not arrived, thinking, quote within quotes, now, is it allowable for us to carry out the observance, or is it not allowable? End quote within quotes. They carry out the observance and recite the Patimokkha, parentheses, although, in parentheses, they are in doubt. While the Patimokkha is being recited by them, other resident monks, a large number, arrive. Monks, the Patimokkha should be recited again by those monks, 3 dots, same as before, 3 dots. An offensive wrongdoing for the reciter. So if they know they're doing something wrong, it's an offensive wrongdoing. If they think they might be doing something wrong, it's an offensive wrongdoing. If they legitimately didn't think they were doing anything wrong because they didn't know that monks were coming, then there's no offense. This is a case, monks, 3 dots, same as before, 3 dots, an offensive wrongdoing for the reciters. Told, barely, told are the 15 cases on being in doubt. There were 15. I only heard like 6 words. Quote, sorry. I just have to get this off my chest. Okay. Some of you might remember the story of Bodhidharma, the lineal descendant of Mahākasyapa, according to the Chan school of Zen and Zen. I mean, the Chan school of Buddhism and Zen school of Buddhism. When he arrived in China, he was brought before the emperor, and the emperor said, I have built many Mahayana temples throughout China. What merit have I gained for myself in the hereafter by doing so? And Bodhidharma said, absolutely none whatsoever. And so I was reminded, if the folks over at the Pali Text Society were to meet Bodhidharma, they were to say, "We have translated the Pali Scriptures, the Tipiṭaka of pre-sectarian early Buddhism, into English so that many may learn from it. What merit have we gained for ourselves in the hereafter?" Bodhidharma might say, "You also brought the 3 dots. So you have negative merit. You will be incarnated in the Avicii." Sorry, I just had to get that off my chest. Now that that's off my chest, I will read the 3 dots. I mean, the translation of the scriptures, including Pali Text Society's little contribution of 3 dots. In peace and serenity, without being annoyed by them, I promise. Okay. Here we go. Quote, "This is a case, monks." 3 dots. Oh, I love the 3 dots, don't you? "They know that there are other resident monks who have not arrived, thinking, quote within quotes, 'Indeed, it is allowable for us to carry out the observance. It is not unallowable for us.' And quote within quotes, they, acting badly, carry out the observance and recite the Patimokkha." There's a footnote on acting badly, and I brought my magnifying glass today so I can read footnotes. Kukukapakata, which incidentally was my first word. No. As overcome, doing as they wished. I'm sorry, I read that footnote. All right. That's what acting badly means. Kukukaka mantan something. Carry out the observance and recite the Patimokkha. While the Patimokkha is being recited by them, other resident monks, a larger number, arrive. Monks, the Patimokkha should be recited again by these monks, and there is an offensive wrongdoing for the reciters. This is a case, monks. 3 dots. That's the same stuff as before. 3 dots. An offensive wrongdoing for the reciters. Told are the 15 cases on acting badly. So if you were wondering, there were 15 cases in those 3 dots. Or 14. They kind of told part of one, and then they kind of implied that there were 14 more cases. Okay. Quote, "This is a case, monks," 3 dots. "They know that there are other resident monks who have not arrived," saying, quote within quotes, "These are perishing. These are being destroyed. What good are these to you?" And quote within quotes, "They carry out the observance and recite the Patimokkha, aiming at a schism." 3 dots. Same as before, 3 dots. Instead of offensive wrongdoing, read grave offense. You're not supposed to aim at a schism. End parentheses. Oh, there was parentheses. Told are the 15 cases on aiming at a schism. Told are the 75 cases. All right. Cool. Move on to what comes next. Quote, "This is a case, monks," 3 dots. "They know that other resident monks are entering within the boundary. They know that other resident monks have entered within the boundary. They see other resident monks entering within the boundary." Pali Text Society, you wrote resident twice. You should proofread a little better. All right. Okay. Other resident monks, is it like buffalo, and this actually makes sense with the word residence twice? Maybe resident twice. Anyway, they see other monks have entered within the boundary. They hear that the other monks are entering within the boundary. They hear that other resident monks have entered within the boundary. from 175 triads, referring to resident parentheses monks end parentheses with resident end parentheses monks end parentheses, to incoming parentheses monks end parentheses with resident parentheses monks end parentheses. To resident parentheses monks end parentheses with incoming resident parentheses monks end parentheses. To incoming parentheses monks end parentheses with incoming parentheses monks end parentheses, there come to be 700 triads by means of parentheses these end parentheses sets. This is a case, monks, where the 14th is parentheses the observance day end parentheses for resident monks. The 15th for incoming ones. If the resident ones are larger in number, the incoming ones should accommodate themselves to the resident ones. If they are equal in number, the incoming ones should accommodate themselves to the resident ones. If the incoming ones are larger in number, the resident ones should accommodate themselves to the incoming ones. This is a case, monks, where the 15th is parentheses the observance day end parentheses for resident monks, the 14th for incoming ones. If the resident ones are larger in number, the incoming ones should accommodate themselves to the resident ones. If 3 dots, it's the same stuff. The rest of the paragraph is the same as the rest of the previous paragraph. End parentheses. 3 dots. This is a case, monks, where the first day of a lunar fortnight is, parentheses, the observance day, parentheses, for resident monks, the 15th for incoming ones. If the resident ones are larger in number, the resident ones, if they are not willing, need not hold a meeting with the incoming ones. The observance should be carried out by the incoming ones having gone outside the boundary. If they are equal in number, the resident ones, if they are not willing, need to hold a meeting with the incoming ones. The observance should be carried out by the incoming ones having gone outside the boundary. If the incoming ones are larger in number, the resident ones should hold a meeting with the incoming ones, or they should go outside the boundary. This is a case, monks, where the 15th is, parentheses, the observance day, end parentheses, for resident monks. The first day of the lunar fortnight for incoming ones. If the resident ones are larger in number, the incoming ones should hold a meeting with the resident ones, or they should go outside the boundary. If they are equal in number, the incoming ones should hold a meeting with the resident ones, or they should go outside the boundary. If the incoming ones are larger in number, the incoming ones, if they are not willing, need not hold a meeting with the resident ones. The observance should be carried out by the resident ones having gone outside the boundary. This is a case, monks, where incoming monks see signs of residence of resident monks, features of residence, marks of residence, indications of residence, carefully prepared couches and chairs, mattresses and squatting mats, carefully arranged water for drinking and water for washing, carefully swept cells, and having seen, parentheses, these signs, end parentheses, they come to be doubtful, thinking, quote within quotes, now, are there resident monks, or are there not? End quote within quotes. If these, being doubtful, do not search and, not having searched, carry out the observance, there is an offensive wrongdoing. If these, being doubtful, search and having searched, do not see, parentheses, any monks, end parentheses, and if not having seen, parentheses, any, end parentheses, they carry out the observance, there is no offense. If these, being doubtful, search, and having searched, see, parentheses, some monks, end parentheses, and if having seen, parentheses, them, end parentheses, they carry out the observance together, there is no offense. If these, being doubtful, search, and having searched, see, parentheses, some monks, end parentheses, and if having seen, parentheses, them, end parentheses, they carry out the observance apart, there is an offense of wrongdoing. If these, being doubtful, search, and having searched, see, parentheses, some monks, end parentheses, and if having seen, parentheses, them, end parentheses, they say, quote and quotes, you are perishing, you are being destroyed, what is the good of these to you, end quote and quotes, and carry out the observance aiming at a schism, there is a grave offense. This is a case, monks, where incoming monks hear signs of residence of resident monks, features of residence, marks of residence, indications of residence, the sound of footsteps as they are pacing up and down, the sound of studying, the sound of coughing, the sound of sneezing. But having heard, they come to be doubtful, thinking, quote and quotes, now, are there resident monks or are there not? End quote and quotes. If these, being doubtful, do not search, three dots, there is a grave offense. Were they aiming at schism? I don't know. The Polytext Society won't tell me. This is a case, monks, where resident monks are signs of what? See signs of incoming monks, features of incoming monks. What? No, features of incoming, marks of incoming. Oh, they stopped putting monks in parentheses. All right. Indications of incoming, unknown bowls, unknown robes, unknown pieces of cloth to sit upon, water for washing the feet sprinkled about. But having seen, parentheses, these signs, end parentheses, they come to be doubtful, thinking, quote and quotes, now, are there incoming monks or are there not? And, quote and quotes, if these, being doubtful, do not search, three dots, there is a grave offense. Were they saying these will perish? What is the use of these to you, aiming at schism? I assume, because in the past, before the Polytext Society started omitting massive amounts of important stuff, that seemed to be the pattern. It's a wrongdoing if you're just being careless or you should have known better. And it's a grave offense if you're aiming at schism and like insulting the other group. So I'm going to go ahead and choose to assume that that's the case here. This is a case, monks, where resident monks hear signs of incoming monks. It's hard to tell if I read this already. Features of incoming monks, features of incoming, marks of incoming, indications of incoming, the sound of footsteps as they are arriving, the sound of sandals tapping. I don't remember sandals tapping, so I don't think I've read this before. The sound of coughing, the sound of sneezing, but having heard, they come to be doubtful, thinking, quote and quotes, now, are there incoming monks or are there not? And, quote and quotes, if these, being doubtful, do not search, three dots, there is a grave offense. Again, they must be schismatic. Must be, I guess. This is a case, monks, where incoming monks are resident resident monks belonging to a different communion. They got They get the parentheses wrong and parentheses view that they belong to the same communion. You mean not Buddhists? Like a different Shramana sect wandering around the same woods, of which there were 61 different similar groups? Perhaps. The Ajivika wandered in. They're like, hey, you look just like us, except drunk. Anyway, they got, yes, the wrong view that they're the same communion, having got the parentheses wrong and parentheses view that they belong to the same communion, if they do not ask, and not having asked, carry out the observance together, there is no offense. If they ask and having asked pay no attention, and having paid no attention carry out the observance together, there is an offense of wrongdoing. I feel like the other monks that are like not Buddhists would be like, what are you guys doing? What is this thing that you're saying? What is all this? What Vinaya Piṭaka? I don't get it. What? This has nothing to do with whatever it is that they do in their Shramana sect. Anyway, there's an offense of wrongdoing. If they ask and having asked pay no attention, and having paid no attention carry out the observance, there is the observance apart. So not the same communion. How many communions were there? And what? I'm confused. I am confused. So I know that the Jainists had an observance day, and it was the same day. And that was actually, from what I've heard, not in the scripture, but on YouTube, that's where Lord Buddha got the idea to have an observance day. I'm pretty sure we didn't read that. No, we didn't read that here. They haven't mentioned Jainism in the scriptures so far. Supposedly they do later, but not by that name. So a different communion. I guess that's what it means. They have their own observance day. They have maybe different rules. That would make sense. So it would be weird to do the observance together. All right. This is a case, monks, where incoming monks see resident monks belonging to the same communion. They get the parentheses wrong and parentheses view that they belong to a different communion. Having got the parentheses wrong and parentheses view that they belong to a different communion, if they do not ask, and not having asked, carry out the observance together, there is an offensive wrongdoing. Okay. That's one of those cases where they think they're doing something wrong, and even though they're not, it's a wrongdoing because they thought they were doing something wrong. Okay. If they asked, and having asked, pay attention, and having paid attention, carry out the observance apart, there is an offensive wrongdoing. Because they're like, are you guys with us? Yeah, we're with you. Oh, I don't care. I'm going to do it separately. Then what are you doing, guys? Come on. If they ask and having asked, pay attention, and having paid attention, carry out the observance together, there is no offense. Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. This is a case, monks, where resident monks see incoming monks belonging to a different communion. They get the parentheses wrong and parentheses view that they belong to the same communion. 3 dots, same stuff as before, says Pali Society. 3 dots, there is no offense. This is a case, monks, where resident monks see incoming monks belonging to the same communion. They get the parentheses wrong and parentheses view that they belong to a different communion. 3 dots. Parentheses, Pali Society says some stuff about the stuff they skipped in notes. It's an equal sign, 2 lines, a Roman numeral 2, and 2 lines inside of a parentheses. And so apparently that's like research scholar schoolboy language for something that makes sense, but to me it just looks like gibberish. 3 dots, there is no offense. Okay, well, I've said it before, they can't all be winners, and by they I mean episodes of Buddhist Books podcast. Hopefully the opening bit with the rain was entertaining for those who are still watching. Hi, sorry. No. The thing is, I'm committed to read every word of the scriptures. All the scriptures that I can get my hands on from as early as possible, translated into English. So we're reading all of the Tipiṭaka, then we're going to read the Mahayana Sutras, the early Mahayana Sutras, then the commentaries of the Theravadan scholar monks that were from about 11 or 1200 years after the Tipiṭaka was originally recited, later written down. So yeah, that includes the boring parts. But I don't know, there's a certain, a nice thing that kind of comes with like putting yourself back in those days and just kind of like observing the mundaneness, because usually when people talk about, focus on, or share on YouTube about aspects of whatever kind of Buddhism, they're usually not talking about the very tedious day-to-day. How did they organize? What was the rule for if they're in the middle of reciting the rules in the middle of then a different group comes and, well, it depends on how big the group is and whether or not they knew that the other, now we know. Is it useful? No, absolutely not. But if you're the same kind of nerd or similar as I am, then there is some value in it. Just not practical value. I hope everybody is having a wonderful day. I hope the weather is nice where you are. I know it's very hot in many parts of the world. But yeah, here in Goa, India, it's very rainy and very nice. And we're getting a break from the heat that we had in the beginning of last month and the previous month and the month before that. All right. I will go ahead and do the closing, and we'll pick up where we left off next time. I think it's going to be more of this kind of thing. But then, at some point, it'll move on to something interesting, and you never know when it's going to suddenly get interesting, so tune in next time. And if you missed it, so if you didn't already know, the episodes that end with 0, in other words, Buddhist books, episode 130 was not the Tipiṭaka, it was the Life and Liberation of Padmasambhava. So if you didn't catch Life and Liberation of Padmasambhava part 14, you can click right here, and that's a lot more interesting than this. Okay. To the north and to the south, to the east and to the west, to the spirits of light among us and to the spirits below, we send out our reverent love and compassion. May all beings be happy. May all beings be serene. May all beings be in peace. Until next time.